Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another episode of Technic Minecraft. Here we are back in the crazy Technicolor world, whatever you want to call it. The great thing about this thing is it does have some pretty good resources. You have to search for them. I've found some nice aqueous crystals. Okay, whatever this is, I'm either frozen or poisoned or whatever. As long as this world doesn't get... well, I guess it doesn't start getting corrupted or whatever. What in the world? I don't even know what this thing is doing to me. All I know is I gotta get past these guys. Stupid things. Anyway, the resources here are pretty good. Now, of course, when this book starts to age and basically fall apart, the only way to really notice it would be to see if there's any large craters in the terrain. Large craters are an indication that the world is slowly starting to decay. After a while, with enough decay, the book will fall apart, and the land will pretty much be all gone. Now, the thing with that is apparently you can actually get trapped in a book and never be able to get out of it. It can actually kind of break your Minecraft game, actually. So, anytime you can get stuck in one of these books, yeah, you want to avoid that. Fortunately, it doesn't look like this book has much decay at this time, so we can actually run around and do a little exploration, do a little searching and whatnot. Alright, so one of the greatest advantages of using Mistcraft, as we continue to hunt around in this Technicolor world, is the fact that we can loot and basically do whatever without any kind of repercussions toward the real world. So I think that's kind of why a lot of people like this. You can actually generate and create your own world however you see fit, without having to face the real repercussions when you go back to the home world, of course. So as we continue to go along, I've collected a couple of V crystals, killed a couple of these wisps for basically whatever I can get from them. I mean, some of these world generations are just amazing. Other ones are just plain weird. Anyway, get back here. There we go. Actually, using this ring to fly around has enabled me to go ahead and get plenty of crystals. If I can get flight again, there we go. What did I get? I must have gotten something else. Seems like they're giving me a lot of earth crystals, which is pretty good, I guess, if I had more use for it. Other than that, I'm not really seeing too much ores around here. I mean, I'm sure there's probably are more, but you just have to go ahead and dig for them. Got plenty of rubber trees around here, which is, once again, really awesome. Great for resources in that area. Other than that, I don't see much use for things like ore and all around here. You'd probably have to dig down a few layers, and with the way these ages work, I don't know if I'd want to dig down anywhere, because I don't want to wind up hitting a crater and not knowing about it. Okay, there we go. There's another earth crystal, earthen crystal. Yep. Alright. So for the most part, I could probably farm at least 9 of them easy. There we go. So the past couple I've actually had have all been giving me the earthen crystals. Jeez, that one wouldn't even try running around. Alright, so I think what's going to happen is we'll wind up getting out of here soon. And I think the way it works is if you can determine the glow of the wisp, that will tell you what kind of crystal it may drop. I did get 1 V crystal from one of them. As you can see, I got 7. There is 3 aqueous I got from... actually, I found inside of a mountain. It was right on the outside. Whoa! Okay, well this taint didn't take long to spread. As we can see, we've got a corrupted creeper over there. We've got another V blob, whatever that thing is. He's just kind of chilling around. That's a thing. We're going to have to be very careful, because it seems like that area over there is starting to spread really bad. But see, that's the beauty of this land, is because we can actually go back and take the silverwood trees without very or little repercussion, because, you know, when push comes to shove, ultimately this world's going to come crash to an end anyway. Okay, we can go ahead and take that one. What was that? It didn't even show up on my hotbar. It wasn't aqueous. Okay, it was a V crystal. Okay, whatever. It's another earthen one. Tree sapling. So whatever this world is, it's not going to last forever. At this rate, it's kind of hard to tell if there's any type of decay to this world because there's so many mountains and there's so many valleys. But generally, valleys, well, basically large craters, determine the level of decay. Fortunately, we don't have any signs of those. At least large craters, anyway. There's another V crystal on the side of the mountain. That one's a vaporous crystal. Anything else around here? Not so much. Luckily, I have this ring to make things a lot easier. So if it wasn't for this ring, this would be quite difficult, to say the least. Okay, that's another jelly down there. So lots of V blob jelly type things. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, so for the most part, it looks like these things are all going to drop earthen crystals. Just judging by the color they leave. What do we got? A zombie up a tree? Say hello to a zombie up the tree. How's it going there, guy? Let me try this. Bye-bye. Oh. Well, here, let me give you a hand there, pal. Or maybe not. Oh well, at least I try to give him a hand. Anything else around here? Anything worth looking at or taking or... Not really. They all have the same type of glow. Don't really need any more earthen crystals. Could probably go home and finish off this stack and make another single crystal itself. Oh well, I think for the most part we're going to want to head getting out of here because there's not much else going on. But yeah, that's the cool part. If anything, these ages are just here for basically just resources and stuff. Think of it as like a giant sandbox. And whenever you get done, you can just go ahead and call it a day. So, pretty cool to say the least. Alright, here we are back in the overworld. We actually have our nuclear facility set up, as you can see plainly right here. We have our MFS over there ready to collect a bunch of more nuclear energy. And we actually have the inside of this thing set up so far. So as you can see, it's a 4-chamber reactor, so we've gotten plenty of space. Not the total 6, but still, it should put off a ton of energy. As a matter of fact, it should fill up the MFS with one cycle. Anyway, here's our setup. As I stated before, it's changed. We don't have that typical pattern as we did before. I'm using a place called... well, actually, I'll just save the time and trouble. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to go ahead and check that out. It'll be at the end of the whole description area. Anyway, this is the best setup I could find. There may be better ones out there, but for a 4-chamber setup, which kind of tends to get a little bit more tricky, this is what I've come up with. I've gotten 4 uranium cells. As you can see here, I'm just going to simply plop these 4 right in here. This should be a set it and forget it. Should be. Of course, there's no guarantees. This whole building is made up of construction foam, so for the most part, it should hold somewhat. Reinforced stone may have been a better idea, but unfortunately, well, construction foam was probably the fastest for me at that time. I didn't put it in a CF sprayer. I could have to save on time, but at the same, I just wanted to build the building. I wasn't worried about setting down scaffolding and, you know, doing the whole 9 yards. So for me, it was pretty quick to do that. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and start plopping uranium cells in here. As we can see, the reactors already start kicking in. Everything's already starting to collect heat. And here we go. It looks like everything is just slowly powering up. Okay, well this heat disperser hasn't collected any heat. So for the most part, it looks like this should be pretty good. I don't think there'll be any problems. Everything looks like it's running pretty good. So for the most part, let me see if I can't get out of here this way. Alright, so from the last time we had a nuclear reactor to this time, it looks like, of course, the generation of EU is going to be a little bit faster. There's no doubt about it. We're using glass fiber cable once again because it is the cable that gives the least amount of loss. It's great for basically long-term travel. I'm not really going very far with the travel. I'm only going over a building over. But still, at this rate for the travel, it is the least amount lost. Considering I'm bringing energy from down there all the way up to this MFS, which is up top here. So I just want to maximize my return. So here we are already. We're over 100,000 EU, which is even... It's a ton faster than our solar array setup. I don't know what more to say about that. Now, of course, this crazy little contraption, I may have been better off just putting a switch up here or somewhere. There we go. As you can see, the glass fiber cable runs out, down, and around the tree into our workshop. Mr. Skeleton's out here. He can die. Get in there. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and try to set up with this teleporter at some point. If I don't destroy the whole building before so. Anyway, I'm going to have to create some more glass fiber cable so we can do said things, but in the meantime, at least we've gotten some of the stuff set up and we can go ahead and run more. Can I get a better look at it now? No, I can't because I don't have the ring. Okay, so we're easily over 200,000 EU and flying. So, for the most part, this setup seems like it's doing pretty good. I hate dealing with buttons. I always have this problem. There we go. Alright, so it doesn't look like anything's being really pushed too hard. So I'm hoping this is a set it and forget it setup. When I do the research for these things, these don't always tell you what they are. So for the most part, it's all pretty much guesswork. But at least if something should happen, construction foam should hold fairly good. The weak spot for the most part is probably going to be right here at this top part. But that's nothing because at least the explosion down here will be well covered. No, this building is not double or triple insulated. It's basically one block thin. But for construction foam, it should hold pretty good, right? I don't know. Like I said, worst case scenario, I just don't see it happening. But if it did, I don't see too much damage being done. I just don't see much. Even if it came over here, the marble itself is pretty resistant. Stupid wolf. Marble is pretty explosion resistant, so my house shouldn't be getting torn to pieces. Stupid undead horse. Alright, so let's go get out of here. I'm going to go take a nap, and we'll come back once the morning is arisen. Here we are. It's morning time. Let's go in the reactor and see how things are looking. Okay. Okay, so uranium's been a little spent. Other than that, it doesn't look like the coolant or the heat disperser really sees much damage or sees much action or anything, really. So for the most part, that's pretty good. Okay, things slowly started going out just a little bit. I'll throw a little bit more water in here as well. I refilled my bucket. I just kind of want to just make sure everything's covered in here. Okay, so if we just go ahead and do, I don't know, something like this, that should, for the most part, at least keep things relatively cold, or under control, rather. So through probably, I guess I want to say a quarter of a night, maybe not much more, looks like we've almost generated 1 million EU. Here we are, we're coming up on 900,000. So this 4-reactor setup does seem pretty potent. Now from what I read, they claim this is a Mark 1 setup. I don't know the difference between Mark 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, actually, the difference I do know is the Mark 2 through 4, whatever, they all have 6 chambers. Unfortunately, well, I could put 6 chambers in here, but I chose not to. I think once you start getting to like 6 chambers, all of a sudden now you have to start watching your cooldowns, you have to start watching your setups, because things become a little bit more complicated. So it becomes at that point that you really have to keep an eye on things. Things get really deadly. I don't want to discourage anyone from going 6 reactor, but the fact of the matter is it just becomes more complicated. So if you have a nuclear reactor near your home, near something very more valuable, something you'd really want to keep an eye on. Because I'm sure even with reinforced stone, nuclear explosions are never fun. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you like destroying worlds and other places, then I guess you could call that fun. Oh my god. Okay, this is going to have to get changed because I'm going to go ape shit with this button going off. And of course I have the water fighting me 100% of the way. So you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to exit said roof. Luckily for the ring. So lucky for the ring. And then what we can do is go down. There we go. The rest will take care of itself. Okay, so let's head back. Let me make a quick switch. I hate dealing with buttons. I hate dealing with buttons. I really hate dealing with buttons. Okay, so I thought I had a workbench in here. I guess I don't. There's my workbench. That's right, I moved it down here. Alright, so what we're just going to have to do is make one of these, and then make this. Hey. Come on, I'm playing hopscotch with this thing. There we go. Alright, so we got a switch. No more freaking buttons, because a button in a place like that is a nightmare, to say the least. There we go. Alright, get out of here. We don't need you. As for you, you need to go right there. Very nice indeed. Now I ain't got to worry about doing all that. Great. Okay, this may be a bit of a pain. Well, anyway, we'll have to figure something out, because I hate dealing with buttons, especially in a setup like that. Anyway, that's our nuclear reactor. At some point, we should probably get that taken care of. And we're going to have to go ahead and start setting this thing up. So my layout setup was not exactly the most perfect, I should say. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even the correct setup. So what ultimately happened was the fact that you're supposed to have your MFSU connected to your teleporter, not to a cable or anything. It has to be directly connected with the teleporter. I found out about that the hard way. That is completely my fault. Anyway, there we go. Now, when you want to activate your teleporter, you have to have some kind of redstone switch or something near it. So, a button, a switch, or whatever, I'm using a switch. Now, I can't activate it just yet because ultimately what's going on is the fact that I don't have a destination. I've actually had to build a second teleporter. Now, to build a teleporter, I will show you real quick. You will need some of these frequency transmitters. This is how you build a frequency transmitter in shapeless IC2 crafting. If you use a copper cable and a circuit. Actually, you could take 2 electronic circuits and put them in these spots with the cable. Then you will go ahead and create your transmitter. As for our teleporter, as you can see, to make the teleporter, we have 4 advanced circuits, 1 frequency transmitter, and then we have some glass fiber cable. So that's pretty much how you make your teleporter. Of course, using diamond, which we have a ton of. So that's the great thing about having equivalent exchange, especially when it's so near the end, because making the stuff is ridiculously easy. Okay, so that is it for the actual teleporter. Let's pull back. Now the thing is, we're going to need another MFSU and a teleporter somewhere else, wherever we want to go. And ultimately, however, how much you have in your backpack plus how far you want to go determines how much energy gets expelled. Okay, so all the energy in this one is getting transported over to the other one. So anyway, where we would put this other teleporter is a very interesting question. I could put it over on the Mushroom Island if I wanted to, but that's going to require some type of energy over there, and that could be problematic. What do we have over here? We've got 2 extremely large trees. Okay, this is nice. Okay, so we'll try to find a spot, or we'll try to find something where we can actually go ahead and teleport to. This may be too far out to do a teleport. Maybe we should just go ahead and do something simple and basic. Just maybe. Okay. So for the sake just of demonstration purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and put this teleporter up on the roof just to, as an examination. It shouldn't take too much energy to actually use this, even though, I mean, it's going to take a little bit because of the fact we're actually using solar power. That's how we'll have this MFSU set up. So it's probably going to take some time for this to actually get enough to actually generate. Actually, you know what? I think I may have made one too many frequency transmitters. So, well, it doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do next is I'm actually try to set this thing up. We'll actually have to use one frequency transmitter to go in here and link the teleportation devices. So, first and foremost, just actually turn that off. We're going to right-click one teleporter with a frequency transmitter. Okay. Now we can go to our other teleporter and finish the actual link. Okay, there we go. Teleportation link established. So our setup is complete. We just need to go ahead and turn the switch on. Now, of course, since the other one don't have any energy, teleporting would be, you know, teleporting pack wouldn't be possible. So, okay, throwing the switch, as you can see, the teleportation device is on. All the little blue fuzzy things popping up, that's a good sign. Because we haven't stepped into it yet, it's not actually draining the MFSU. So, the only time it really drains it is when you walk through the actual teleportation field, which is what we're going to do right now. As you can see, walking through it gives you a little sound effect and puts you right up on top. As I stated, well, we don't have a switch up here anyway, but our MFSU up here has no power, so teleporting back right now really isn't an option. But you can actually leave the switch on, the actual other teleporter. It, like I said, it won't draw energy. It'll only draw energy when you get close to it. To which case, I'm just going to turn it off. Hello. Goodbye. Stupid skeleton. Okay, so that's going to continue to draw out more energy, and that's got about roughly 2.5 million EU. So that's 2 MFSUs that are getting power. So that's roughly about 20 million. Whoa. Stupid zombies. Alright, let's try to get in this door again. How are we looking in here? Okay, for the most part, everything looks pretty cool. Uranium's still holding up pretty good, so we're getting a decent amount out of it. Still going to have to come up with a reasonable way to get out of this building beside destroying half of it, or part of it. Get in there. Thank you. As you can see right here, this MFSU is getting the power, but it's easily losing it when it teleports it to the other one. Actually, rather, it transports it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get another switch up and running. Now that this is actually working, we should be seeing power go into this MFSU. Okay, there we go. It's not as optimal as our nuclear facility, but it's, I guess you could say it's getting the job done. Now, I probably won't have enough to teleport me for a while, depending, because I've got a lot of stuff in my backpack. A lot of junk, basically. So, for teleportation, it's probably going to require at least 30,000 EU to teleport me. It can cost upwards to 60 thousand and more. And more. That's just giving you a rough number. So, like I said, the energy requirements could be a lot. Okay, I just have to remember to not delete the wrong energy transmitter, or we could be screwed. Alright, so where's my workbench? I keep forgetting I put my workbench down here. There we go, we've got the switch thrown on up there. How we looking? Okay, this teleportation device is up and running. Can I go through it? Yeah, apparently I can't because I don't have enough energy. And yeah, I'm only sitting at roughly 23,000. So it would take a while to actually be able to use this back and forth. No real surprise there. I mean, what can I say? This thing will hold 10 million EU, but with these solar panels, it's going to take a while. I would probably have to make at least a couple more to actually get anywhere near what we've gotten with the nuclear reactor. So for the most part, I really wouldn't count on that for any type of teleportation just yet. But if you wanted to do this long range, you'd probably have to set up another nuclear reactor just to be able to power this. And you always have to remember that MFSU has to be next to the actual teleporter for it to work. Cables will not work with the actual device. You actually have to set it up like this. So it would be kind of cool to actually have a teleporter all over to Mushroom Island, but that would take time and a lot of effort to get an actual nuclear facility over there to get it up and running. Plus you figure that thing's about 2,000 meters all the way over north. So that's a long way to teleport with a lot of stuff in your backpack. I would expect the requirement to be in the millions to be able to teleport back and forth. So anyway, that's going to pretty much do it for this video. I hope you found it informative or entertaining or even both. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to join us again next time. If you enjoyed it, like I said, just leave a thumbs up. Questions, comments, or anything else down below in the comments section. I would love to hear from you. Have yourself a wonderful day, and if not, then just simply fake it. I'll see you again next time.